The virility of life here on this world was astounding, but on a planet filled with magic, anything was possible. Everything in this world was filled with tiny particles that took after the element from which they originated. The locals called these particles zeal. Water held water zeal, fire held fire zeal, and the air held air zeal. I had a personal preference for earth zeal, as that was the affinity of the spell heart I'd bound and since inserted into my body, making me a mage acolyte of the earth aspect. Though unlike most elves, I was also holding on to a mind aspect spell heart as backup. I pictured the rising pillar of limestone that encapsulated the crude sentry tower, protecting it from the wind, rain, and potential invaders. What I was doing now was informal magic, as I had no spells or techniques for this. My familiarity with the stone obelisk spell certainly helped, and I even took the opportunity to cast that spell and summon a finger of stone nearby. The black tower spreaded from the earth like a stone tree, and the sharp angles cast an ominous shadow over the otherwise picturesque natural clearing. The stone obelisk spell helped me control informal magic like the kind I was working now. It increased the rate at which I could influence the surrounding earth zeal, and made it quicker to answer my commands. Using ambient zeal like this was a lot more efficient than using the zeal I'd already attuned to my will and stashed away inside my body. And it was almost enough to make informal magic viable in combat. Usually, though, I just ended up hurling the massive pillars of rock at my enemies as large, pointy projectiles. With the help of the stone obelisk, I built a cylinder of stone around the crude sentry tower, exactly as I'd observed the Wanderer's system construct. I checked to see if the system recognized my handiwork. Crude sentry tower. Upgrade to sturdy sentry tower? 20 points. Sure enough, building the stone base manually cut down on the number of points I'd need to send to upgrade the whole sentry tower. I could have tried to upgrade the whole thing manually, but I didn't have the right magic to build a wooden roof, and the Hearthwood didn't have a locksmith who could make the lockable door to the sentry tower. Since I'd saved as many points as I reasonably could, I upgraded this sentry tower as well and watched my points vanish. 2 down, 8 more to go. Remaining points, 520. I'd made quite a few points thanks to all the battles I'd fought against the Corpse Collector Company and Sharian in addition to hunting raptors in the dungeon below. Only a few days ago I'd had several thousand points, but Mac had been printing new tools non-stop while I'd been repairing defenses and exchanging points for ingredients Sava could use to stockpile potions. My vast fortune had dwindled to nearly nothing in this fevered spending. I'd need to head down into the dungeon and start killing things sooner rather than later. My slow and methodical construction work was interrupted by an ambush. An elf with shoulder-length purple hair popped out of a tree. I hadn't even suspected that anyone had been hiding there, and if this assassin had been after my life, I would have been in serious trouble. She was clad in a skin-tight black leather outfit that concealed a seemingly impossible number of throwing knives. She pulled an ornate set of nunchucks from her waist and twirled them in a rather intimidating fashion, only to knock herself in the back of the head at the last moment. "Ow! Still haven't mastered these yet," the purple-haired ninja elf said. She was none other than Eltiana Violet, the tribal chief and leader of the Hidden Serpent tribe. After rubbing the back of her head, she thrust a finger in my direction and shouted, "Aha! A heart wielder would never have been able to raise 3 of those piles of rock one after another. Not without some valuable potions, at least." A green-haired elf appeared from behind a bush. Long green hair spilled down her bare shoulders, and she dusted off the dress she was wearing. Her eyes scanned the surrounding terrain, always on the lookout for valuable ingredients. "Even among the great clans, I've never seen a heart wielder exert so much power on their own." A golden head stepped delicately over the forest floor in a dress more suited to a ballroom than a backwoods place like this. That was only fitting, though, considering the wearer was Nella Songstone, the young lady and leader of what little remained of the once mighty Songstone clan. Behind her was another mage acolyte of her clan, Melise. Melise shared her matriarch's golden hair, though she wore it shorter, and despite wearing armor and having a spear propped against her shoulder, she looked more like a young secretary than a warrior. Her face bore a girlish pout, and her eyes were fixed in my direction. "Why didn't you tell us, Theo?" A blue-haired elf slipped in behind them.